Professor Bergholz Werner from Jacobs University. He will talk about LED.
What I want you to be familiar with is the new lighting technology. You all know incandescent light bulbs. They use a certain amount of energy and mostly used in industrial buildings and offices we have fluorescent light tubes. And for about the last 2 or 3 years LED technology, LED, light emitting diodes have emerged. Now light emitting diodes work like a semiconductor, like your microchips in your computer. And in fact, why LEDs now and not before? The microelectronic industry has seen 30 to 40 years of development, driving productivity and improving quality, and in parallel, light emitting diodes have seen the same development. And so today we have a situation that LEDs have many advantages over all other lighting technologies. Last but not least, a much better energy efficiency. And that's what we are going to explore in more detail in a minute.
Can you explain us what is LED?
Okay, I'll try. With an incandescent light bulb, you know, I put a current through a wire, it will glow, and that's the light. With a light tube, you put a high voltage through a gas, and it will glow as a plasma. Now with LEDs, you have something called a band gap, and you pump electrons from the lower to the higher level, and when they fall down, the electric energy you put in comes out as light. I think that's the simplest way how to explain it, but you don't need to know any more, except that it will come as a light bulb, it will come as a normal tube, and you can retrofit it. So you can use it just as much as all the technology you're used to.
Where in a container terminal it is feasible to install LED lights?
Anywhere, really. You can install it in offices, you can install it on equipment, of course in workshops, and until very recently I would have said the yard lighting is a problem, but this is no longer true. LEDs are also now suitable for yard lighting. And while I mentioned LEDs, I should also mention that it's not only LEDs, but it can also be plasma lighting as a new technology.
Okay. How much power and energy can be saved by replacing the AHPs by LED luminaires?
Well, there is a relatively simple rule of the thumb. 50 to 70%. So it's 50 to 70% saving if you change from, for instance, fluorescent lights or high pressure sodium lights, HPS, to LEDs. So it's not just a little bit, but it is significant. It's a factor of 2 at least that you save in energy. And there is more that you save, namely the time between failure, or the lifetime of LEDs is much longer. So if you factor in cost, of course it will also cost you less to replace them, because you don't have to do it as frequently as before.
Are there additional ways to save energy?
Yes, there are, with the help of LEDs. There are, for instance, it's a possibility to reduce the light output or switch it off when you don't need it. Like if for yard lighting, if there is no activity in the area, or in a hall or in an office building, if there is no movement, then it can be turned down in power, no problem. You can switch on and off LEDs as fast as you like, and they won't be damaged like complex fluorescent tubes and other light sources. And then there is something very important. If you have yard lighting, what you typically have is your light intensity over the yard goes like that. You have peaks under the masts, but what you need is to have a certain minimum light intensity. And if you have the traditional light sources, which are like point light sources, you need a high intensity directly under in order to meet the minimum requirements. Now, with an LED, if that is your LED light source, you can engineer it that the light output is much higher in the regions left and right than directly under it, where the distance to where the light is needed is much lower. So what you can actually realize with that is a light profile which is more or less like that. And so you save all this unnecessary light. And okay, of course, one other thing to be kept in mind, today it's 50 to 70%. In a few years' time, it will be 70 to 85%. So it will get even better. So, in principle, in a few years' time, LED will be the only feasible or the only light source, the mainstream light source, because it's so much more energy efficient, plus more durable.
Okay. What do you do when you want to implement a change to LED? Okay,
interesting question. LED is still an emerging technology. So you have, like in the car industries in the 1920s, you have tens or hundreds of manufacturers. And since it is a new technology, what you have to watch is this manufacturer one with a good quality, with a reliable product? We've done tests of over 400 products, and there are huge differences. So when you consider doing it, you should ask a consultant to help you to pick the right product. And of course, Jakobs University provides that service.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I've explained all about LEDs. Now let me show you some real LEDs. In this hallway, we have lights which look like conventional fluorescent strip lights. They are not. These are LEDs. And they are about 3 times as energy efficient as the old strip lights. What you can see is a tube, which is clear, and you can see individual little lights. And these are the individual LEDs, and there are hundreds of these in a tube. You can have it as this one, which I've selected so that you can actually see it, or you can have it with a frosted envelope, and then you can't even distinguish it from the normal fluorescent light tube. It is exactly the same fitting, so all you need to do, take the old one out, put the new one in, and you are using 30% of the energy that you were using before. Can't be easier.